The Savannah Squares in Savannah, Georgia, is 22 famous monuments laid out in a grid pattern in downtown Savannah. Near the Savannah River, James Edward Oglethorpe settled on Yamacraw Bluff. In 1732, Oglethorpe drew a map of Savannah. It was a bird's-eye view and perspective that showed the town's plan. The map was unlike King George II had ever seen. In a grid pattern, he laid streets called wards around the squares for easy access to other squares. The city was intended to expand the British Empire into North America, with a logical plan that was unlike any other settlement. From its inception, the city was planned in Oglethorpe's careful, sensible, and logical way. Studying Inigo Jones, Robert Castell, and Palladio, Oglethorpe drew inspiration from London's urban plan. The result was a new form of planning and a new style of architecture altogether, Georgian. Not only did Oglethorpe's grid plan provide community access to materials, but also provide the settlement with safety. In fear of Indian attack, Oglethorpe proposed the squares to provide refuge for civilians living outside of city walls. 10 men from a tithing would have firearms ready at all times. A constable from each tithing was to be on watch every night for the community's protection. The squares allowed access to a distinct social life in the center of town. During the 19th century, the squares allowed relief from urban tedium. Club meetings, political rallies, speeches, and recreational activities were all hosted on the squares. Savannahans dedicated the squares to memorials and created landmarks for famous generals and wealthy patricians of the city. Originally, the squares were Spartan simplicities of Savannah. They were large muddy areas for farm animals to roam, used only for the necessities of the town. But by 1837, the squares became manicured, beautiful public parks, garnished with flowers, shrubbery, shady trees, curving paths, and elegant fountains. Oglethorpe's plan allowed the squares to become a central meeting area, where businesses and shops were supported and encouraged to grow. Ellis Square became the city's marketplace. Franklin held the water tower, and Washington included the firehouse. In only 120 years from Oglethorpe's first square, the town grew from 4 to 24 squares, until the town ran out of common public land. The agreeable uniformity of the squares was pleasantly accessible for all members of the growing city. The support of the urban plan allowed a small settlement to grow into an organized major city. Today, pedestrians have the right of way, so traffic must flow around the squares. The squares are a quiet sanctuary in the midst of downtown Savannah. The simplicity of the design is basic yet incredibly smart. Traffic is reduced while parks promote city beautification. Instead of allowing the city to build randomly, the grid-like pattern provides structure for Savannah to grow in a logical way. The grid pattern of Savannah Squares is a beautiful historical landmark for the city, but also is a revolutionary urban plan for the modern green design world. The plan shows that even in a major city, architects and urban planners should be conscious of sustainability and the importance of planning parks and gardens within urban communities.